One of our therapists I just heard is now generating over $20K a month. In the second year, we really got into her doing speaking engagements, trainings, support groups, and just not doing any one-on-one. Hey, great day, y'all. So I wanted to just pop in here to tell you why it's important to be patient in your business, especially related to scalability. So we have our Elite Coaching Mastermind, and we had opened up our very first group cohort back at the end of 2020. And then we had individuals go through the program every year between 2021 through the end of 2023. One of our therapists I just heard is now generating over $20K a month. But in her first year, we were focused on email marketing and clarifying her offer, really determining if she really wanted to move away from full one-on-one and do speaking engagements in groups. And in the second year, we really got into her doing speaking engagements, trainings, support groups, and just not doing any one-on-one. And then a year and a half later, I hear that she is generating $20K a month. And so make sure that y'all are patient. Growth and scalability are not overnight. And if you want to learn more about scaling your mental health business, then DM me right now or leave a comment and let's chat. But Elite Coaching Mastermind for therapists, it is a mastermind, high level, I'm going to say a hybrid program because it includes a core shell for growth and specifically scalability support. But it also provides therapists with direct access to myself through one-on-one coaching, through in-between access through like a voice note and support. And then they also get group calls where they can mastermind with one another, because it's something about growing your business by yourself where it still feels alone. And better yet, some entrepreneurs, what you find is that as you're building your business and you go higher and higher, whether that be goals that are hit, whether that be revenue points that are hit, all of a sudden you realize that you are back by yourself. And so we created ECM back in 2020 at the end, and we opened up a total of 3 cohorts over the last 4 years. And over the last 4 years, what we've noticed is there are 3 main tracks that therapists go through in terms of scalability, or at least desire to go through. So the first track is some of them want to open or grow an existing group practice. The reason why some therapists come to us for group practice that they already have is because this is probably what it might have looked like. Somebody came to them and said, "Can I be your intern?" They said yes. All of a sudden, you're hit with all these HR rules and logistics, and then you wonder why your time is being swallowed by you having an intern or another licensed provider or a friend that's a therapist, etc. What I'm getting to is most group practices that start, including one that I started a long time ago, is that it doesn't have any systems. And in order for you to truly scale your time, it's not going to be good enough just for you to hire somebody. You actually have to have the systems to onboard, to keep them, to market them, to help them help your business make money so that they can make money and that you can also take a step back. That is the definition of scalability, meaning you work less while earning more. But please note that that may not happen in like the first year of even group practice. And so one of the things that I shared yesterday in my stories was that I want therapists especially, but entrepreneurs, you got to be patient with growth and scalability. So sometimes it's easy to grow when you can just make money through presenting yourself online. But it's not as easy for some to scale when you refuse to hire, when you refuse to write down what you're doing in a particular order because you don't have systems. And think about it, when you hire someone, whether it be a therapist, an admin, a biller, if they have no systems to follow, what you're going to start doing is giving them tasks over and over again because you didn't want to sit down and write out the standard operating procedure. And then you're going to feel like, well, they're not worth my time. I could have just did this by myself. But in reality, it wasn't their fault. You literally did not give them the system to follow. Therefore, they were not trained. Therefore, they were not a good match, right? So that's one track, is group practice. And some people start from scratch with us. And again, it's based on your pace. We've had some individuals that were at a 9-to-5 job and they had a part-time private practice. They had no desire to do full-time private practice. They wanted to build out their systems for their solo practice first. So they did DTA. And then they were like, I already know how to supervise. I just want to jump straight into group practice. So one of our students in particular from the East Coast, I remember she said this at one of our conferences, and some people were like, oh my God, like that takes super patience. She stayed at her job and she kept her part-time private practice, and she built out the systems for her entire group practice during our mastermind. And then the following year, because she stayed with us for 2 cohorts, the following year is where she said, okay, I built out the systems. Now, as I hire Dr. TK, I need your assistance as real people come through my doors. Because here's the thing, you can learn anything in an online course. I mean, I can give you access to one of my online courses. You can pay for it, and you can self-teach yourself by going through the portal. Very much true without access. The thing is, once you actually get a client and a customer, then the question is, can you go back to the portal and do you know how to apply what you are learning to each individual need, especially if you're hiring therapists, right? Licensed or unlicensed. So group practice is one track. The second track for the mastermind is actually for coaching. So we know that coaching is a fine line. So the place that I start at when I interview therapists or chat with y'all in the DM around coaching is, my first question is, what do you want to do in coaching? Because if you start talking and using language like you're doing therapy, my next question will automatically be, well, how is that different than your therapeutic services? And if you can't tell me, it doesn't mean we can't work together. It just means that that's where we're going to start. Because we can't jump into, oh, you're going to launch on January 5th. And can I help you build out the systems? I can help you do all of it. But I may not know if January 5th is feasible for you, because we first have to clarify who is your audience without people coming to you getting confused. Should they sign up for therapy or should they sign up for coaching? Right? So we have to look at the ethical standpoint. And I am an APA certified CE instructor. So I am not going to help you lose your license. You know what I'm saying? And so coaching is a whole different ball game. It's not the same as your solo practice. It's not the same as your group practice. And some people will swear up and down. I get questions all the time. Like, can I put my coaching clients in my EHR? And I'm like, is your EHR for therapy clients or for coaching clients? And they're like, oh, they're for therapy clients. I said, so why would you put a coaching client in a HIPAA protected EHR? Oh, well, that means I have to buy another system. Yeah, that's the definition of scalability. In order for you to remove yourself, at some point, you're going to have to hire systems and or people. Okay. So coaching is another one. And then the third category is, I'm just going to say in general, the branding, marketing, expansion space. So what that can look like on multiple levels is it can be someone wants to maybe have a group practice, and then maybe toward the latter part of our program, they say, you know what, I really want to build out an online course that goes with X of what I'm doing, right? And so we have our therapists that come into our program. Once they're accepted, we do have you declare by December, what stream of income do you want me to hold you accountable for? And that is the question, because somebody can come in right now and apply, they get invited and they say, oh, I want to do group practice. And then they have a come to Jesus moment. And then all of a sudden they realize by talking to other group therapists or watching some of our older interviews, like, yeah, that sounds like a whole agency, which it is. Therefore, I don't think I want to do it, which is fine. And so I asked them, which stream of income, again, do you want to focus on starting January 1? Then they tell me, and my role is to keep you accountable so that you don't start getting trigger happy and veer off into interest of other things, because streams of income is very attractable and can become very addictive with just like learning. So those are the 3 tracks. It's like expansion. Some people do like workshops in the community, master classes. Some people build out full mental health programs like I do with nonprofits. So that's why it's important that in this program, we give you one-on-one access, because every person's process framework is going to look completely different. Even if in the portal, it can teach you what are the mechanism or the tools or the operating systems for a group practice in general. But in terms of the way that you want to do your group practice, we need to build that out like individually. So the structure of the program is as follows. Applications have been open, y'all, for 3 weeks. It was only open to our email list initially. The reason why you see it come out of nowhere nowhere is because either you are not on our email community list, you don't open up our emails, maybe you unsubscribed or whatever. But now we're putting it on Instagram, and I've been having conversations with therapists over the last 48 hours, a lot of them, whether it be voice notes or whether it be text, but I usually do a voice note. And so I start the conversation off in the DM, just making sure that you know exactly what you're applying for, because I don't want you to waste your time on an application. ECM is for therapists who want to scale their existing business. And so if you just started, private practice, this is not the right fit for you. Our Adult Therapist Academy, actually last day of enrollment for the year was today. And we did a whole boot camp on that, which is why we didn't put ECM, the mastermind, in the public eye that much, because it was like, it always overlaps in the fourth quarter. And we want to make sure that therapists don't get attractive to just, I want the highest accessible program, which is a fine desire, but you have to ideally go into the program that's going to help you for the goal that you're working on right now. So if you're interested in a solo practice, you can DM me when I'm done with this live. I can send you the link, but it shuts down at 11:59 tonight Pacific Standard Time, which is at about 3.5 hours. The mastermind, we already have sent out invitations starting last week. We've already started receiving some acceptance emails. And so my team is going to reach out to those individuals starting on Monday to send them out their agreement. But the logistics of the program is as follows. So the onboarding starts now. We have a welcome call in December. The welcome call is to get everybody acclimated with who's in the program, because it's a very intimate community. Then you also will have a bonus 20-minute intention setting call. And what that means is that I'm going to ask you for your accountability of what stream of income you want to focus on in the first quarter, right? And I'm going to give you an intention, sheet, a Google sheet that you can, download on your Google Drive. And then your goal is to work through that sheet along with me navigating you through the portal, because you're going to get access to the portal in December. And I'll tell you exactly where to go based off your goals, what you've done, and where you're stuck. Okay. So it's very, very personalized. Then we take a break, meaning my office takes a break for 2 weeks for the holiday season. We come back January 6th, and then that's when the one-on-one sessions start. So you have 2 touch points just about every single month, unless we have a live event. So you get a total of 7 outside of December, a total of 7 one-on-one calls. So, and they're like 45 minutes. And so we send you the calendar. I'm a person where I like to plan out for the whole year. I'm back to my old self, thank goodness, because your girl was missing that OG yearly schedule this year. I was kind of experimenting and doing other things, and it's because I had nothing but time. And so I'm back to scheduling out at minimum the first 6 months. And what I do is I choose to plug in, and I want my clients to learn from this too. I plug in my family and my kids' schedule before I create my business schedule, because that's the lifestyle that I would like to live. I don't want to live for my business. I want to live for an abundant lifestyle because of the impact that I make in my business. So what we're going to do is send people out like invitations around selecting their one-on-one sessions. You meet with me once a month from January until July. That's your sessions. You have optional one-on-one access via like voice note to me in between session for accountability. You also will have once a month hot seat mastermind calls with everybody in the program so that we can really help one another out, because that's the benefit of a mastermind, that you don't glow up and feel like you're by yourself. You have the feedback and perspective from other people, and you can get feedback right then and there to go execute, because it's not just about my perspective. It's about other people's perspective, because you never know where other people have worked and where their experience has been. And sometimes we may judge someone, not in a negative way, but we may assume that based off what they're doing now, that's really the totality of their experience. And we know as therapists, that's very much not true. I mean, we spent 3,000 plus hours working in different places, let alone the beginning phases of a 9-to-5 job, plus maybe what other jobs you had even outside of the therapist realm. And so we hot seat mastermind. The only time we will not have a hot seat mastermind is during the month of our live event. So we have placed a live event smack dead in the middle of the cohort, at least from starting from December to July. So our live event will more than likely, and I say that because we have to secure the venue space after we know who's going to be in the program and how many, because that determines the space. So we are more than likely looking at March, which is spring, because if you think about it, we met each other in December. March is actually the end of the first quarter so that we can check in and see how you're doing and also prepare you for the second quarter. And then our last one-on-one is in July, but our last group call is like, I think it falls on like the first week of August, end of July, because of the way that the week falls. So you still will get technically, I believe, like 7 hot seat calls, but that's ultimately the program is high touch point, high accessibility, and accessibility to scalability tools that you will not get in my growth programs. When I say growth programs, I have 2 programs under the mastermind, not in any particular order. One program is only focused on private practice. That's DTA. The other program is solely focused on simple digital products. So what we have found for people who have accepted our invitation into ECM, some of them have done DTA. They've also done our Aligned Marketing Academy. And my disclaimer with Aligned Marketing Academy for digital products is that if your goal is to build out a coaching program, it's going to be a great foundation, but you're definitely going to probably desire some personalized touches because I'm giving you the infrastructure of a digital product, like what should be in any digital product. But in terms of a coaching program, it's like going and getting another degree in school that you didn't go to school for. You have to start from scratch. You don't have to start from scratch as far as being a professional, but in terms of your marketing, it's going to look different than you do in therapy. Your website back pages are going to look differently than what you do in therapy. We're not talking about HIPAA compliancy. We're talking about you changing someone's life that in which you're not using language like, oh, they're depressed. Because if they're depressed, then that means they should be seeing you for therapy. So if you want to apply for the mastermind, all you have to do, if you're listening on Instagram, is click the link in my bio. Right now, that's the only link. And it is October 17th at the time of this recording, okay? If you are on Instagram, click that link. If you are on the podcast, you can click the link in the show notes, and it will be available until applications are actually closed. And applications are actually closing in the next like 6 to 7 days, like next week, because we got to make sure that we interview and start onboarding people by the first week of November. All right. So let me know if you have any questions about the mastermind. Just hop over in my DM. Let's have a conversation. If I start asking a lot of questions, I may just say, hey, here are my 2 questions. But if you would prefer, let's just hop on a Zoom call and let's just go back and forth with these questions and answers. You can ask your questions too, versus like me waiting on your time zone to kick in and you wake up, or it's too late, or we're missing each other because we're both not sitting on Instagram. But Instagram is a great place to start in terms of like a small chit chat. But there are some people in my Instagram and my podcast community that they know very much what the ECM program does and the impact that it does. So you definitely want to apply if you didn't get a chance to join clearly this past year, because we did a pause period with the mastermind to help gear up a lot of therapists who were really at that private practice. I need to get my stuff in order first. And we found that there were way more therapists there than there were for the mastermind. So that's why we had the VIP experience. So if you have any questions, DM me. If you want to apply and get on the calendar, make sure you read the instructions. Hopefully we'll see you on an interview. And then if you're a great match, we will extend the option to join the mastermind.